You can really see everything inside of them, the fry's eyes, their shape and everything. Oh, they want to, they're just not sure. Oh, there he goes, the first. Welcome back, fish freaks, to the Native Aquatics Fish Room, and today we're going to be moving the little guppies that hatched out recently. That's right, the 7 little guppies that we've been following their journey. We're going to move them to a 60-litre tank. So here we go, fish freaks. This here is the tank. I'm going to talk a little bit quieter now because I've taken the cover down. Mama is just here hiding underneath the lip here. That's why I haven't taken the towel fully off. The mum, she is very skittish right now. She's probably only around 24 to 48 hours away from actually giving birth. So I'm going to try and remove these fry without stressing her out as much as possible. You can see here she's coming down to kind of see what I'm up to, and I'll try and get a video of her belly so you guys can see just how crazy glass belly guppies are. You can really see everything inside of them, the fry's eyes, their shape and everything. First, let's take a closer look at these guppies in the little breeder box here. Now, I don't know how well you guys can see this. In this breeder box here, we have our 7 little guppies. They're much, much bigger than when they were first birthed. All I've been feeding them is baby brine shrimp. You can watch some of the shorts on how I hatch my baby brine shrimp. There's 7 little guppies and they're very, very social. So what I'll do is I'll take the camera off the stand so I can give you guys just a bit of a closer look. As you can see, we've got a couple of little guppies here. They're going absolutely crazy. They think they're gonna get fed. Little do they know they're about to be moved. You can see there's quite a bit of molmy detritus waste here in the bottom. That's normal. Basically, it's just plants decaying and fish poop. I usually try to take this out every day, if not every 2 days. It really just depends. You can see here the guppy is having a massive poo. It's very easy for these fish to create a lot of waste very, very quickly, especially if you're feeding them 1 to 2 times a day. The more you feed them, the bigger they'll get. Now, it's like I said, I'm going to take these guppies out of here, out of their little breeder box, and I'm going to put them in this little bin. This bin here is probably around 1.5 liters, and we're going to take them out very gently and put them in here so we can get a really good look at them before we take them and put them down here in our little 60-litre tank. Wow, there is our mama guppy, and as you can see, she is mega pregnant. She's being a bit shy right now, so I don't want to spook her out too much, but wow, look at that, fish freak. She is mega pregnant. She has a very dark belly. She's just wanting to hide up there in the shadows, so let's not stress her out too much, and let's get to business removing these tiny little fish fry. Now that we know what the TDS of the tank is, we're going to fill our container about halfway up with the main tank water, or the water that they're used to living in, and then put these little guys in this container. From there, we will slowly acclimate them using a cup of the new tank water over around 15 minutes to make sure that we slowly acclimate them. There is around a 20 to 25 TDS difference between the tank they're already in and the tank we want to move them to. First off, however, what I'll do is I'll grab a small amount of water here from my albino PRTDE tank, which uses the same water because there's a bulkhead inside the tank that ensures the water on this side is the same as the water on this side. It's a 4-foot tank that's been divided down the middle. Water can transfer between both tanks because both guppy species or strains require the same parameters. I'm going to tip some of this water in this container like you can see here, and I'm just going to give it a swish. Oh, try not to spill any more of it, just to make sure that there's nothing left from where I washed the tank, just in warm water, no soaps, nothing like that. Once we know that our container is clean, we can safely go ahead and get the water out of the tank and fill it up. As you can see, I got a little bit of Java moss on the outside. That's fine. I'm just going to stick it in there. It's not going to make too much of a difference. This is maybe a little bit too much water, but I think it's going to be fine. Thankfully, our little PRTDEs don't seem to mind that we're stealing their water. They're just swimming around thinking that they want some food, probably because I haven't fed them for a couple of hours. Now we've got our water here, like you can see. Very nice, very clean. We're now going to try and transfer our 7 PLR guppy fry out of the breeder box into this container, and then I'll show you my process on how I acclimate them from the container to the tank. We don't want to stress her out while we do this. We want it to be as stress-free for her and for the little babies as possible. I'm going to use a small mouth net. This one's actually designed for shrimp. It works very, very well for catching little guppy fries. All I'm going to do is move this so that I can see what's going on. I'm just going to put this net in here. They should all start running away when they see the net. So we're just going to do that and catch them. And there we go. We have little guppy fry. I think I caught all of them. All right, fish freaks, so here we go. Here's our little guppies. Let's just count them and make sure we've got them all. Very difficult while they're all swimming around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All of them are in here. Perfect. Look at their cute little eyes, fish freak. Are they not absolutely adorable? Look at them. All right, all we have to do now is just turn this little net over. We will put the little guppies into this little breeder bin. Oh, one's stuck in the net. Come on. There we go, fish freaks. That's all 7 of the little guppies out of the net. As you can see, there's no more in there. These little nets are very, very handy for this kind of thing. It's nice to be gentle with these little guys because they are still delicate, even though they are a bit bigger at this size. So what I will do is I'll quickly just grab the container and show you guys what we have. So here we go, fish freaks. Here's our 7 PLR guppy fry. You can already kind of see their little black black tails starting to form. I don't know how well the camera's picking that up. They've got these little black tails, and I can already see that they have these big Dumbo ears, which means even though it's a recessive trait, they've actually kept it. Most of the fry that this mum guppy has with the dad guppy will all have these same recessive traits. So that means they're going to have the nice dark caudal fin, otherwise known as a tail, and they'll have the Dumbo ears, otherwise known as elephant ear pectoral fins. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit these down on the tank now so that we can add some of the new tank's tank water to this and slowly acclimate them. We don't want this to become too hot or too unstable from the temperature that they just came out of. So let's pop this one down here. We'll just sit it on this other tank and I will show you guys how that looks. So here we go, fish freaks. You can see the little PLRs are just swimming around in here. They're very, very calm actually, which is kind of surprising. They are a little bit bigger than when I would usually move them over. It just shows that they definitely needed to be moved today. We didn't want to wait any longer to move these little guys. They're absolutely adorable. And you can really see the glass belly even at this age. You would be able to see their little pink bellies after eating, but after that their bellies would usually go to a silvery color. Because these are glass bellies, you can actually see their liver and their little eyes, and sometimes you can even get a glimpse of their little intestines, which is really, really cool. Now, because they've been in this little container for long enough, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start acclimating them with the other tank's water, and then every time I add a little bit of water, I'll put a cover over this just to make it dark to stop their cortisol from spiking and causing unnecessary stress. We don't want to stress them out too much. We want to make sure they have the highest chance of living when we put them in this new tank down the bottom here. And just to show you guys the tank that we're using, it's just a very simple 60 liter. There's a little bit of muck on the ground because I did have Pseudomugil halophilus in this tank. I moved them out to a bigger tank as they were tiny little fry, and I've now since grown them up. And I'll be making a video on that soon, showing you guys how I breed Pseudomugil halophilus, otherwise known as the mangrove blue eye. So look forward to that. It's just a sponge filter here, 60 liter water at around 440 TDS, a GH of 10, and there's no actual heater in this because the fish room keeps a very ambient temperature of around 25 to 26 degrees, especially in the Queensland summer right now. As you can see, nothing serious, nothing crazy. Anyone can do this if you have a 60 liter tank. Even smaller for guppies at this size would work. And next to them, we just have a couple of little Brosmani fry that are growing out. I will be moving them soon because they need a bigger tank, but they are also for sale. Without further ado, let's start adding some of this tank water into the little guppies. And I always aim for a little container of this size. You don't want to go too much. I'd probably aim for around 100 mils, something like this. And all we're going to do is very slowly pour this in. You want it to barely be a trickle. You could do a drip siphon, but for these little guys, I don't think it's really necessary. You can see that they're already wondering what's going on. The temperatures are very similar. Even still, you don't want to risk thermal shock. It's very fatal, especially when they're at this small, fragile little size. And here you can see what I was meaning. We've put a little dishcloth or tea towel, depending where you're from. I'm Australian, that's just what we call it. Let me know in the comments what you guys call these kind of dish towels. But I've just put one of these over the little bin that they're in. I'll come back in around 10 minutes to put another little bit of water in there, and we will just do that for the next 20 to 30 minutes. They're not going to need a massive acclimation process because, again, the water parameters are very similar. The temperatures are very similar. I would always make sure to do a less intense acclimation process than this because sometimes pouring the water in can be a little bit startling for the fish. You don't want to risk osmotic shock, especially when they are added to their new tank. In 10 minutes, we'll come back and we will add some more water, and I'll see you guys again then. Okay, fish freaks, so it is 10 minutes later, and again, we are going to scoop up a little bit of water, as you can see here, a little bit of water in there, and just gently pour it here into our guppy's little tank. And you can actually see, look at these little guppies, they're all coming to the flow. Look at that, they're like, oh. They're loving that. And that's a good sign that they're actually acclimating really well. So what we'll do is we'll actually give them a little bit more just to speed things up, because I'm actually a little bit different. I don't like to keep my guppies or my fish in a process of long acclimation. I think sometimes it can do more harm than good. So I like to try and get things done pretty quickly. Just added some more water. We'll put the cover back over and we'll come back in another 5 to 10 minutes. All right, here we go, fish freaks. This is going to be the final cup of water that we add to our little guppies. As you can see, they are just chilling in here. They're very happy, very content, just doing what it is they're doing. They're not stressed, they're not worried. In fact, they're coming to the glass being very friendly. So what we'll do is we will grab a bigger cup of water this time, because again, they've already had a little bit of extra time to acclimate, and I want to make sure we add enough water here to pretty much fully acclimate them to the temperature of the other tank. And as you can see, they're coming to it again. They're very much enjoying having this fresh different water. Look at that, they're just going crazy. And what we'll do is we'll take off our little tea towel here, or our little dishcloth, and I will float this just for a little bit in the tank here. This will just slot down in here. and it floats perfectly in the tank. Look down here, you can see that they're just chilling, looking around, and the reason I'm doing this is this will help them to acclimate to the temperature just a little bit more before we tip them into the tank. So it's been a few minutes since we put that last cup in there, and we are going to pour them here into the tank. Even when I pour them, I like to do it very slowly, so I'll show you what I mean. I'll get the corner of the tub and I'll slowly lower it in like this. You see how it's slowly just kind of barely making the lip? And I'll just slowly add water until the tub fills up and wants to sink. And then when it's ready to sink, that's when I will tip them in there. That way I don't just instantly shock them by dumping them in. See that? You see how we just add a little bit at a time? See if they just want to, oh, look at that, fish freaks. They're just going to swim out. Oh, they want to, they're just not sure. Oh, there it goes. The first one's gone. Look at that, guys. Is that not so awesome to see? Let's have a look down here. Wow, look at that. Look, we'll tip these out. There we go. Oh, one little rhizome still in there. There we go. As you can see, nothing left. And look, wow, fish freaks. Look at that. There we go, fish freaks. As you can see, they are in the tank, just chilling, doing their thing. I had to turn the air down just a little bit because it was a little bit too rough for them and they were kind of struggling against the flow. Look at that, absolutely gorgeous, super cute. I will try and get some more HD footage later. My camera is being a little bit annoying on my phone here, which is what I'm using to record. Yeah, look at that, they're all just chilling and doing their thing, and I'll upload a YouTube short later on to show you how they're doing, but for the most part, they seem to be acclimating absolutely fine. So there we have it, fish freaks. We moved 7 little PLR guppies to a new tank. We matched all the parameters in the tank to match, and the mum is actually pregnant with a bunch more fry. So when she starts dropping them, I will start recording and I'll get it all on camera, hopefully for you guys, so we can see how many she has. Like I said, I think it's going to be around 20 to 30 this time, not just 7. And I'm super, super excited. More videos to come. So make sure that you splash the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one, fish freaks.